Hi there, my name's Tim Johnson. Are you frightened of sobriety? Are you frightened that you've not got what it takes? Are you frightened about never having another drink and a drug again? About living your life and facing your emotions sober? Facing your fears, facing your pain, whatever it is? Are you frightened of going through withdrawal? If you've never been through withdrawal before, the unknown fear of that, whatever the withdrawal from drink or drugs, they both can seem equally as daunting. Or if you've been through withdrawal many times, are you frightened of what you know you're going to get, what you know is coming your way, and getting through that, and what happens when you get to the other side of that? How you can live a sober life. Fear holds us back in so many ways. I'll tell you a quick story now about overcoming it. This time 2 years ago, I made a decision which has changed my life. After 35 years of misery of addiction, that previous Christmas had been a shambles. I'd gone home to England and it had ended up with me as a mess basically, and both my daughters and my family pleaded with me, my daughters in tears, saying that they didn't want me to die, that my oldest daughter was, I wanted you to give me away at the wedding, Dad, and we want you to see our grandchildren, and I'll tell you why that happened. It was because I was in such a state then that I couldn't even hold my knife and fork during Christmas dinner because I was shaking so much. Couldn't pick up a glass because literally I was shaking so much it would drop out of my hand. Vomiting, incoherent. Going through a period, that little bit of withdrawal because I didn't want to drink in front of them. I was just in misery, and I didn't realise just how close to losing everything and death that I was, how near I was to it all. But even that didn't stop me. After all that, after those days of pleading and tears and misery, and my own physical and mental anguish, that still wasn't enough. 4 or 5 months down the line, it got to August, and eventually you just come to that point, and I hope that you reach it sooner than I did, that I had to make a choice, and it literally was a choice between life and death. And I wanted to live. I decided that I wanted to live, and that the next Christmas I was going to spend, I was going to be sober, which was 5 months away in August. And because it was August now, and it gave me enough time, I thought, to stop. And I was very heavily addicted. So if you look back at my previous video, I got the knowledge, and I knew what I was going to go through, but conquering that fear, because I put it off and put it off and I put it off because I knew the misery I was going to face. But also I couldn't really come to terms with the fact that I was never going to have those feelings of euphoria. I was never going to have a drink again. I was going to have to go the rest of my life, in effect, without drinking alcohol again. My friend and constant companion for the last 35 years, just as the drugs had been, things that had propped me up and made me normal in my mind, and had shielded me from the pain of my past and the emotions that I didn't want to face, and I was frightened of coming out the other side of withdrawal, and I was frightened of the withdrawal because I've been through many withdrawals in rehab, and the last withdrawal I'd done prior to 2 years ago, that August, was in 2012, which was sort of three and a half years before. And you never forget. You never forget. You know what's going to come. So I thought that I'll stop the drugs first, and I'll continue with the alcohol, and that'll prop me up through withdrawal. And that was another serious mistake, But I thought, I'm going to face it. I want to live. I want my family to be proud of me next Christmas. And I want it to be the best Christmas present that I could ever give them, me being sober for the first time, probably that they could ever remember, certainly my girls. And so I was determined, and I wanted to live, and I wanted to see my grandchildren, and I wanted to give both my daughters a wedding, and I wanted to be a figure that they remember with fondness and not with shame and misery. And I realised that how precious life was, and how precious, what a miracle we are, and I was wasting it, and this beautiful machine we call our body, and how I was damaging it, and had no regard for anybody, and selfish and isolated, and no friends, or the friends that I did have were just people I used and drank with. No real friends, lonely, miserable, unhealthy. But most of all, I was seriously ill. I was vomiting blood and all these things, and this had gone on for a long time, and mentally I was extremely unstable, and I knew it was going to be hard. And let me tell you now, those of you who are going to make this decision, because I hope from this video that you will make this decision to give your family the best Christmas present that they could ever have this Christmas coming. And I hate to talk about Christmas now, it's early days, I know, August, but you'll need that time. You promise you'll need that time. I hope you understand it's going to be hard, because it is. And anybody that goes through this battle and gets through the other side, in my mind, is a hero and a warrior, because it's the hardest battle you will ever face in your life. And I've been through many tough battles, not, in my life, trust me. And this, by a long, long stretch, has been the hardest, but it has also been the most rewarding as I come up to 2 years sobriety. And at the end of this video, there'll be a link to the video I made a few days ago about the gifts that you can expect at the end of this journey. So face that fear. It's going to be hard. You prepare for it. Look back at my other videos preparing for withdrawal, and all the, giving yourself the tools and the knowledge you'll need to get through that. So that's the first hurdle. Pay the piper, paying the dues is going through withdrawal. You've got to face that. It's inevitable. You have to go through it. You have to face your fear. You have to be strong. You have to be a warrior, because it's a battle. And it's the old Winston Churchill thing, isn't it? If you're going through hell, keep going. But I promise you that and this is absolutely serious, the worst day you will ever face in sobriety is 1,000,000 times better than the best day you will ever have in addiction. And I promise you that's true. You need to make the effort now before it's too late, before your family don't want to know you anymore. Not just because you're going to lose all the material stuff in your life, because you will. Because what happens with alcohol and drugs, when they've taken everything else, they will come back for you. There's no doubt about that. When they've taken everything else, they will come back for you, and they will claim you. Everything about you. So I'm not just talking about material stuff, your money, your house, your job, all that sort of stuff, but the most important things in your life, which is your family and those loved ones and your friends and your health. Most importantly, your own health. You will lose your life. You will end up on a machine with a very painful death in a hospital somewhere with a massively swollen belly full of liquid, being drained, or waiting for a liver transplant, or OD'd from an opiate overdose, or on a machine, a ventilator keeping you alive. A painful, horrible, horrific death, but not just for you, but for those loved ones who have to watch it and have to care for you during that. So come on, please do what I did 2 years ago now. Look towards Christmas. Start planning now, towards the end of this month, or take a couple of weeks now to plan and get everything arranged. Look back at my previous videos on planning for withdrawal, getting through it, early recovery, and those first few months, because it was the January of that Christmas I was sober, which incidentally was the happiest Christmas that I can ever remember, than my first sober Christmas 2 years ago. And that January I started making these videos, and there's 140 now on this channel, and it's a great thing to be able to pass that experience on, and having got through that. And I know for a lot of you, You know, you've got massively bad circumstances to get out of and a lot of pain to get through. But the pain you're in now, you know, it's going to get worse and worse and worse in addiction. I promise you, nothing will improve. It'll only go downhill. It'll only get worse until it claims you. So please, please give your family the best Christmas present they can ever have this Christmas, which is you, sober you, happy you, compos mentis, present, smiling, naturally happy, really happy from the inside out, because all these things will come to you. So seize the day today, Carpe Diem. It's a war, it's a battle, you've got to be a warrior. It's painful, and you'll shed many tears and you will feel pain. There's no doubt about that, there's no hiding place from that. But it's worth every bit of pain at the end of it, with the gifts that you will receive. Trust me, I promise you that's true. So please make today the day you change, for yourself, for your loved ones, for your children, for those people who care for you, but most of all you care for yourself. Carpe Diem. Get sober. Much love to you.